Just 31 points separate the two McLaren drivers with 8 races to go. For the first time since 2008, the team is on the cusp of delivering a world champion. But the problem is, there can only be one. Piastri, young, fearless and precise, versus Norris, consistent, experienced and hungry for the crown. Inside the garage, a storm is brewing, and this weekend's Azerbaijan Grand Prix might be the moment where the balance of power shifts for good. The chaos behind the scenes has already begun. McLaren's so-called fairness policy is under fire after team orders in Monza forced Piastri to give way to Norris, costing him valuable points. The Australian's frustration is visible, his determination sharper than ever, and as the paddock heads to Baku, whispers are growing louder. Will Piastri finally put his foot down, defy the team, and go all in for the championship? If you don't want to miss the unfolding drama at McLaren, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because this season is shaping up to be one of the most explosive battles in modern F1 history. Oscar Piastri's mindset heading into Azerbaijan is crystal clear. He is not going to hold back. The Australian prodigy has made it clear that despite the uncomfortable shadow of team orders in Monza, his approach to racing won't change. He is still chasing victories, still laser-focused on extracting maximum points every single weekend, and above all, still committed to becoming Formula One world champion. At first glance, Piastri's calmness may look like simple maturity, but beneath the surface lies something far more dangerous for McLaren. An unshakable belief that he can and should win this championship on his own terms. His words to the press said it all. It's still far too early to be calculating and settling for positions that aren't first. That's not the voice of a man willing to play the supporting role. That's the voice of a driver who has tasted the sharp end of the grid and has no intention of letting it slip away. And here's where the numbers start to tell the story. The 31-point advantage over Norris may look healthy, but in the brutal reality of Formula One, it is anything but. A single DNF in Baku where incidents are practically guaranteed, and that lead could be slashed overnight. Imagine Piastri clipping the wall at turn 8, or suffering a mechanical issue while Norris sails home in second. Suddenly, the Australian's hard-earned buffer vanishes, and the psychological momentum swings heavily in Norris's favour. That's why Piastri's determination to not settle makes perfect sense. He knows better than most how quickly championships can be lost. Remember, this isn't the first time Piastri has been in a title fight. In his junior career, he showed an uncanny ability to keep calm under pressure, often stealing championships in the final rounds through consistency and precision. But Formula One is a different beast. The stakes are higher, the media scrutiny is relentless, and every mistake is magnified. Add in the fact that he's battling not a rival from another team, but his own garage mate, Lando Norris, and you have a cocktail of pressure that could explode at any moment. Now let's examine McLaren's position. Zak Brown and team principal Andrea Stella have repeatedly stressed their commitment to fairness. Both drivers have equal machinery, equal opportunities, and equal strategic backing. On paper, that's admirable. In practice, however, it's nearly impossible to maintain neutrality when a championship fight goes down to the wire. History proves this point. Ferrari had to pick between Schumacher and Irvine, Mercedes ultimately leaned toward Hamilton over Rosberg, and even Red Bull's infamous Multi-21 incident with Vettel and Webber revealed the cracks that emerge under pressure. Monza was the first visible sign that McLaren's fairness policy has limits. Piastri, running ahead of Norris, was instructed to yield. And he did, but that decision has left scars. 6 points lost may not sound catastrophic, but imagine this. If Piastri loses the championship by fewer than 6 points, Monza will be remembered as the moment McLaren tipped the scales. The optics of that scenario could haunt the team for years. Was the order truly about maximizing team points? Or was it a subtle show of favoritism toward Norris, the longer-serving McLaren driver? Fans, pundits, and insiders alike are already asking the question. Piastri's response has been calculated, almost eerily composed. He hasn't lashed out. He hasn't thrown his team under the bus. Instead, he's doubled down on his own philosophy. Keep attacking, keep maximizing, and don't allow the situation to dictate terms. That's both admirable and alarming. Admirable because it shows he's playing the long game with remarkable maturity. Alarming because if another Monza moment arises, his patience may run out. And when a driver decides to ignore the pit wall, chaos follows. On the other side of the garage, Lando Norris is playing the role of McLaren's statesman. He's repeatedly emphasized the bigger picture, talking about building McLaren into a dynasty, one that could mirror Mercedes' era of dominance. It's a noble vision, but here's the catch. Dynasties in F1 are built on ruthless decisions, not equal opportunities. Mercedes eventually backed Hamilton. Red Bull built their empire around Verstappen. Even Ferrari in the Schumacher era was unapologetically one-sided. For Norris, the dream of long-term success may be clashing with the immediate reality. If he doesn't win now, will he ever get another chance this good? That brings us to Baku, the most unpredictable track on the calendar. Street circuits are unforgiving, and Azerbaijan is notorious for its chaos. One weekend you're cruising to victory, the next you're in the barriers with 0 points. For Piastri, this race is both a golden opportunity and a massive risk. A victory here could cement his psychological upper hand, sending a message to both Norris and McLaren that he's in charge of this title fight. But one mistake could unravel months of hard work. The bigger question is how McLaren will react if the two drivers find themselves wheel-to-wheel in Baku. Imagine the scenario. Lap 42, Piastri leads, Norris is closing in, and the pit wall hesitates. Do they let them race? Do they impose team orders again? And if they do, will Piastri obey this time? These are the nightmare scenarios haunting McLaren's leadership. Because no matter what decision they make, one driver will feel betrayed. And once trust between a driver and his team fractures, it's almost impossible to repair. From a psychological standpoint, Piastri may have the sharper edge right now. He's new enough to feel like he has nothing to lose, yet experienced enough to know how to manage risk. Norris, in contrast, carries the weight of expectation. He's been with McLaren longer, he's seen the dark years, and now he's expected to deliver. That expectation can either fuel him or crush him under pressure. One more layer to consider, the future beyond 2025. McLaren may soon have to decide whether they can realistically keep both drivers happy. If Piastri wins the championship this year, does Norris accept playing second fiddle next season? If Norris wins, does Piastri start looking over the fence at Ferrari or Mercedes, where he could be the undisputed number one? These aren't questions for tomorrow. They're questions that are already shaping the decisions being made today. Ultimately, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix could act as the spark that ignites full-blown civil war at McLaren. Either Piastri solidifies his lead and asserts himself as the clear favourite, or Norris claws back momentum and shifts the pressure squarely onto the Australian. In either case, McLaren's so-called fairness will be tested to its breaking point. And make no mistake, Formula One fans around the world are watching this story with fascination. It's not just about who wins the championship, it's about the legacy of McLaren, the psychology of its drivers, and the decisions that could either build an empire or tear it apart from the inside. So, as McLaren's garage prepares for Baku, the question hangs in the air. Will Oscar Piastri obey team orders again, or has the time come to put everything on the line, even at the risk of breaking McLaren's unity? One thing is certain. The outcome of this weekend could redefine not just the championship, but the future of McLaren itself. What do you think? Will Piastri seize control in Azerbaijan, or will Norris tighten his grip on the title race? Let me know your thoughts in the comments.